If you're a high school catcher or the parent of one that wants to play college baseball, you probably already know what a recruiting video is. Some of you maybe have already made one. Others of you know that you have to make one. You just have no idea. And for those of us that don't know what a recruiting video is, essentially a recruiting video is exactly what you see playing in the background right now, but it's going to be a video of a catcher showcasing their different skills and abilities, and we're going to be sending these out to prospective college coaches so that they can understand not only us as a person, but us as a player, to hopefully gather interest from these schools that we're reaching out to in an attempt to eventually play at their school. Now, one of the biggest problems that I see with high school catchers recruiting videos is they have no idea how to structure these videos. And most of the time, if you're a guy that's already sent out your recruiting video, you understand how actually rare it is to get a good and well thought out response, or actually get the interest that you thought you were going to get when you send these things out. So what we need to understand is how to craft a recruiting video and what college coaches actually want to see, so that you can put these things together correctly and actually get the interest that you want from the schools that you want to play at. What you need to understand is, if you ask any college coach what their emails look like, they probably get, depending on the size of the school, but they could get anywhere from 5 to 50 recruiting videos a day. So we need to figure out, how do we stand out in this sea of emails that this coach is getting? Not every coach has the ability to watch a 5-minute video from every kid that emails them. So we need to understand how to stand out and get that coach's interest in us. So the first step in crafting a catcher's recruiting video that coaches actually want and that actually get us the interest that we want is going to be understanding who we are sending video to. So the big things here are, coaches can sniff a generic email from a mile away. If you're just going the old copy paste route and sending it to every school in the country, chances are your video is not going to get watched by that many schools. What you need to understand about the recruiting process is, the recruiting process is like dating, right? So a college coach is not going to waste their limited time and limited resources recruiting a kid that doesn't show interest in their program. So if you're sending out a generic recruiting email to every single coach, that coach is not going to waste their time watching your video and recruiting you if you're not showing interest in them first. A lot of high school catchers think if they can just send out their video to everybody, somebody's going to show interest, and then they'll figure out what school they want to go to from there. But here at Pro Point Catching, we teach it the opposite. We want our kids to get hyper specific on who they want to play for and who they want to reach out to, so that we can tailor our outreach and our recruiting videos to fit what that coach is actually looking for within their program. So once we've narrowed down who we're actually sending our recruiting video to, we want to start to understand, what are these coaches actually looking for? So this question can go a lot of different ways, but ultimately what you want to understand is, once you have a good understanding of the caliber of school you want to play for and the types of coaches that you want to reach out to, now we can start to understand, what are these coaches at these levels actually looking for? What do they look for in the catchers that they recruit? And we can even take this as far as their past rosters and the types of kids that they recruit, to see if we're on track to be that guy, and if we actually have a chance of having our video watched by these coaches. So once we understand who we're sending our video to, we also understand what are these coaches actually looking for. The next thing we want to think about is, how can we add value to these programs? So by asking ourselves this question of how can we add value to these programs, we can start to understand how to craft our video in a way that is enticing and actually gets a college coach to watch our video and potentially show interest in our abilities. So this is going to take some self-reflection on your end and understanding who you are as a player and where your skills are going to fit in at these levels that you're desiring to play at. You may be the type of catcher that is very high academic, very good game sense, very good interpersonal skills, leadership skills, type of guy that's going to command a locker room and lead a team very well. If you're that guy and say maybe you don't have any standout tools that are really going to get attention fast, and you're more trying to sell yourself through your interpersonal skills and the value that you provide to a team in that way, then you want your recruiting video to highlight this. If you're a guy with a plus bat, and let's say you can make an impact at the college level with your bat right away as a freshman, then you're of course going to want to highlight that first. So understanding how you can add value to these programs is going to determine how you craft your recruiting video. And I'm going to show you examples of both of these guys. So once we understand who we're sending our video to, we can understand what are these coaches actually looking for. And then we can understand how do we add value to these programs. That's going to tell us how to craft a recruiting video. So if you're watching this video, I already know that you are active on social media. So we want to apply what we've learned from social media and apply that to our actual recruiting video. And what I'm talking about is, you know just as well as I do that in this day and age, attention spans are shot. If a college coach wants to recruit a catcher, he can probably go on Twitter and find 100 clips of catchers. But with so much mass out there, it's super important that you're standing out and that you're giving coaches a reason to watch your video. So the first principle that we learned from social media is we need a really good hook to our videos. So if you look on Instagram or whatever, you might see a hook as something like, hey, the top 3 reasons for X. That curiosity loop is what gets you to watch the entire video and actually get the outcome of what was promised in the hook. So the first hook that you have when you're sending out a recruiting video is going to be the subject line of your email. If you look at most college coaches' email inboxes, the subject lines are going to be like 27 catcher and very generic things that all look the same. If we want to stand out initially, something we can do is highlight our best attribute in the subject line of that video. So we can say 6'9", 60, 2027 catcher. That's intriguing. That makes me want to click. Or you could say 84 mile an hour arm, 2027 catcher, right? That's intriguing. That grabs my attention. So we always are going to apply a hook to everything we're doing, from the subject line to the body of the email, as well as the actual video. We're trying to earn this coach's attention every step of the way if we want them to watch our entire video, right? So if we can understand this, then we can understand the actual recruiting video structure. And like I said, we're about to go through a few just so you can see some live examples. But we're always going to want to structure our recruiting videos from our best attributes. So our best attributes are going to be first, and then our worst attributes will be later in the video. The reason for this is if we don't get that college coach's attention with the first clip that we provide, there's no chance of them watching the rest of the video. So we want to stack the beginning of the video with our best skills. So this is a recruiting video from one of our college-ready catcher athletes. And what you can see is Sam does a very good job of taking a lot of pride in everything he does. And what I mean by this is, for example, when Sam went out to record his recruiting video, Sam wore baseball pants, right? That might not sound like a lot, but that little bit of attention to detail goes a long way. And that's a desirable trait from a catcher that potential college coach is going to want to trust to lead their team, is how well do you take care of the small things? And you can just see all of Sam's lighting, all of his angles, everything that he recorded of himself is a very good showcase as to not only who he is as a player, but also who he is as a person and the level of attention to detail that he pays to everything that he does. So with Sam's video, what we decided to do is we included these talking sections throughout the video just so that potential coach can hear Sam talk and speak and the way that he presents himself and carries himself. So Sam here is telling the coach a little bit about himself, where he's from, and some of his best attributes. And then we immediately go into his first skill, which is his best skill, which is his pop time. And we're showcasing Sam's range of a 194 to about a 205. And we're also giving a very clear view of his mechanics and how he moves. One thing that's really important is we don't just want to include our best clips. Of course, we don't want to include clips that are total trash, but we want to give these coaches a full scope of who we are as a player, and we want to allow them to see us move more than anything. Your stats could be what they are, your pop time could be what it is, but ultimately, none of those numbers really mean anything if you're not passing the eye test. And what the eye test is essentially this coach is watching you move, they're watching how coordinated you are and how athletic you look to make a determination, is this kid actually going to translate to the college level, or is he just a showcase player? So we want to see you move around. We want to see all of that general stuff, as well as the actual skills like receiving, blocking, and throwing. Overall athletic ability with the ability to throw and backpick, as well as jump and run. So what you'll see is we included Sam's 30-yard dash because his 30-yard dash is decent. He ran a 4.34, but his 60-yard dash is brutal. He runs like an 8-second 60-yard dash. So one of the things that we're doing for Sam is everything in this video is a continued work in progress. Sam is only a junior right now, so we're working to get him on track for senior year. But we didn't even include his 60-yard dash because it's so bad. But the good thing about that is once we get Sam's 60-yard dash closer to that 7.0 mark or closer to a desirable level that a college coach would want to see, number one, that's going to serve as an opportunity to update coaches. Hey, coach, reached out to you a couple months back. Here's where I stood. Here's what I've improved on so far. Here's some updated film. So understanding that recruiting video is not a one and done situation, there's going to be a continuous process of improvement and updating coaches. Like I said earlier in this video, recruiting is like dating. If we're showing continuous interest in somebody over a long period of time, eventually, if it's a good match, we're going to start getting that interest back from that person or from that coach. So really, the whole purpose of the recruiting video is to show strong presence early and then continue updating these coaches as we're making improvements to our game. Now, the second example is one of our catchers named Max. One of the great things about Max is a very soft-spoken kid, so you're not going to get a whole lot out of Max. That's why we didn't include any of the, talking pieces or anything like that. Max's skills really talk for themselves. And Max's biggest skill that's going to translate to the college level is his ability to swing the bat. When Max initially sent out this recruiting video, he got responses from coaches that same day just because of how much they liked his swing. And of course, we highlighted that quite a bit in his video. Max actually attended, right after he sent out his first round of videos, he attended a camp, got a personal call from a coach, and they're going to come watch him play, this spring. And Max is also a junior. And then Max has some room to go in terms of his throw and his pop time. So these are things that we're working on. And of course, these are going to be highlighted later in the video just because these are still a work in progress for him. And once these metrics get to a place where they're a little bit more desirable, they either may get moved up in the video or serve more of a role in this video. But again, when you're crafting your video, we always want to understand what it is that a college coach is actually looking for and how we're going to provide value for them. And then we're going to want to structure our video in that way. So if you're a high school catcher that wants to play college baseball and you've seen what we do here at Pro Point Catching, the College Ready Catcher program could be a great fit for you. Essentially, the big picture of how this program works is we're making an objective analysis of who you are as a catcher before you come into this program, and then we're determining your goals and the levels that you want to play at, and then we're reverse engineering that entire process from the recruiting side of things as well as the skill development side of things like receiving, blocking, and then metrics like pop time, velocity, 60-yard dash in an attempt to turn you into a well-rounded player that could add value to a college program once you get to that level. If that's something that's interesting to you, there's a link in the description of this video. You can check out our page and see what we're all about and potentially schedule a call to meet with us.